Hey guys, if you are someone whose income is very irregular and you actually don't know as to how to fix your budget in that irregular income, and I take the first steps of basic investments, this video is for you. In this video, we are going to talk about how to retain your income in terms of how to streamline your income. So I am Swati Singhania and we are unlocking financial literacy for you. So let's start going. So this video is broken up into three sections. In the first section, we talk about how can you understand what are your level of incomes that you've earned in the last year, because you actually have never calculated what is the money that you made in a year. Second, we're going to talk about how to plan your expenses to understand what have you spent last year and how much expenses are you looking in this year. And then the last section, we are going to talk about how to match that income to expenses and also create some money for your savings there. So if you're ready to go, let's not waste time and start going, and let's start talking about your income. So how do you actually calculate what is the amount of income you've made? Very simple. Pick up your balance sheet of the last year. I hope you're taking all your money in your bank account. If you're not doing, that is the first step you have to start doing. Take all your money into your bank account, and this is for all the freelancers there. Learn this. You have to learn to put a contract into place and get all your income in your bank account. So pick up the bank statement of your last year. And I'm not going to give you extreme difficult tasks. I'm going to make it very, very easy for you. Just pick up your bank statement of last year and total all the incoming. Just total all the incoming. So I'm assuming your bank statement doesn't have a windfall gain from any of your relatives. If that is the case, then yes, you need to identify and subtract or minus that. But otherwise, just total all the incoming. So there you go. That's your income for the last year. And on the other hand, you just pick up the total of all the expenses or the outflows. So that is the expenses, investments, every money you've paid to anyone comes there. So let's only talk about first the income that you have. So once you've totaled all the incoming, that is the income that you made in the last 1 year. So for this example, let's take April to March into place. So, or you can just take up January to December last year, pick up your favorite year and just calculate the income of that. Now, this income divided by 12, because there are 12 months, right? So divided by 12. Why am I making you do this? Because I'm assuming that if you're watching this video, you do have a very irregular income. So that basically means in maybe January to March, you made about 5 lakh rupees, and starting from April, August, you've not made any money. And then maybe September, October, you made another 2-3 lakh rupees. So you have a very irregular income. Some months you have a huge amount of money that comes in, while some months you also don't land up picking any assignments, and which I think is a very, very regular case with all freelancers out there and us for that matter. We do not have a certainty of income. And so we can't say that, okay, in this particular month, I'm going to make 2 lakh rupees, or in this particular month, I'm going to make 20 lakh rupees, or 2 crores for that matter. Why not aim? So let's just pick up the total. So this is where your income is for the last year. So for this particular video, we are going to take some numbers, and I'm not going to scare you. I promise I'm going to make it very, very easy for you. So just pick up the total and divide it by 12. So let's assume you made 12 lakh rupees last year, divided by 12, which is 1 lakh rupees. It is just simple to take numbers. So I'm just going to take it. So 12 lakhs divided by 12 is 1 lakh rupee a month. So let's assume last year you made 1 lakh rupee per month. Okay. Now let's come to the second section, which is about expenses. Now, how do you actually decide about expenses? So when it comes to expenses, there is a very, very important rule that we need to understand. So all expenses are important. I'm not saying you're a spendthrift person. Even if you are, you don't want to accept that you're a spendthrift person, right? So all expenses are important. But if you have taken this first step, and let me congratulate you for taking this first step of watching this video, because by the end of this video, you will for sure learn things about your bank statement, about how to actually think of investments and actually start putting some investments. So now in your expenses, when you look at the other side, all the outflows, you have to divide it between 2 to 3 brackets. Look at all the expenses and start putting them into different brackets. Okay, so let's put them into 3 brackets, which is roti, kapda, makan, and you can probably put others if you really wish to. So when it comes to roti, what are the amount of expenses you've done on your food? So that will include for grocery, that will include for hotel bills, restaurant bills, that will include all the parties that you've done, that will include any amount of food delivery that you've done. So, add all that and put that under food bracket. Now let's pick up clothes, right? Roti kapda makan. So let's pick up kapda, which is clothes. So let's look up all the amount of shopping you've done for clothes, for accessories, for shoes, for even makeup for that matter, or any amount of cream or any amount of anything which you like to put on yourself to make yourself look better, okay? Just add all the expenses done under that bracket into clothing. Now let's look at lodging. So when it comes to lodging, things are mostly less complicated. So why? Because there can only be two cases. Either you're living with your family, so you're probably not bearing the rent, or you are living alone, or for that matter, you are bearing the rent or EMI of your property. So this can only be the two cases. There cannot be miscellaneous under lodging or housing unless you're someone who's changing your house every week, which I really hope is not the case with you, right? Otherwise, you really need to figure out your lodging first, because I think this weekly shifting is going to kill you at one point of time. So that is a very simple section. So you just put in all the amount you spend on your housing in one. Now, everything that is left, which is not found place in food, clothing and housing, you put under miscellaneous bracket. Sounds good? Now just make a total. So, it is very simple. Just pick up your bank statement and break it into these 4 segments. So clothing, fooding, housing and others. Now when it comes to clothing and fooding, you have to divide it further. When it comes to fooding or food, it can be of 2 types. One is a basic bare necessity, so grocery, so your daily food that you order, your milk, bread, butter, everything basic that you have to order is what comes under basic necessities. The comfort or the luxury will be every outing that you've done. So every dinner that you hosted outside, or every party you went to and you paid for it. Every food you ordered where you could have eaten at home, but you chose to order food from outside. So all this will come under necessity and comfort. Yes, guys, I know it's difficult. It is a very touch and go situation, but you have to do it, because otherwise you can never figure out what you really want to do in your retirement. You'll have to continue to earn all your life, okay? And if you really have to figure this out, you really have to go get into your bank statement and do this for your own self. Now let's get into clothing. So honestly, if you really ask me, a lot of our expenditure on clothing is actually inspired, or we are pushed to do that shopping. So this year, starting 2020 till today, you will not believe I have not shopped a single piece of clothing for myself. And yeah, it was not planned. Obviously, it was not planned. After my shopping for New Year, it just happened that I thought I'll buy somewhere in March, April. And then we had this pandemic, and obviously we were compelled to not buy. So by the time I reached June, July, I said, okay, let me throw myself this challenge. Let me not buy a single piece of clothing the whole year, and let me see if I can survive without a single new addition to my wardrobe. I am 8 months already. I have survived. Yay, I just have just 4 months to go. Yeah, so I have survived this much time, and I think I can survive another 4 to 5 months on this. So now if you see clothing, we do a lot of shopping which we think that we need, but we actually don't need. So if you're going through a place where you're actually wanting to do your planning, it is extremely important that you start figuring out what is required and what is not required. So in the clothing bracket, whatever you spend on clothing, whatever, just pick up the amount and we will divide it by a number. Let's just divide it 20% and 80%, because I think 20% is necessity buying and 80% is luxury buying when it comes to clothing, unless you've really lost weight or you've really added a lot of weight, or you've added a lot of inches and you've lost a lot of inches. Other than that, I don't think so any amount of clothing is really necessary. Just divide it by 20% and 80%. And if you think you're someone who doesn't spend too much on clothing, you can probably divide it by 50 to 50%. Half. Okay? So that is how in clothing we have divided between necessity and luxury or comfort. And I know you do not like me, but I promise you by end of this video, you are going to hit that like button for me. So let's start going. Now what we are left with is others. So others would have things that you've not been able to identify. Money you've gifted to your parents, money you've sent to your siblings, money you've paid for your education. Yes, so that is necessity. Now this others would need an analysis. There can't be a general rule for it. But if this others is anywhere around 10 to 20% of what you earn, of your income, then I think it is sorted, because you will always have this 20%. Whatever money you make or you don't make, you will always have this 20%, which you really cannot identify. Okay, so by now we've figured out, we've divided our expenses between, yes, repeat with me, clothing, fooding, housing, and others. And within fooding, we've divided it between necessary and luxury. And clothing, we've probably just put a formula of, like a percentage of 20 to 80% or 50-50. Okay, and others is something that I will let you decide. Because unless you really put it in the comments there that what you spent on, I can probably tell you that whether that's important or not. Okay, but otherwise I will let you decide on that. So now let's quickly move to how to actually do that planning and figure out whether you're ready for investments or not. Okay, so let's go to numbers again. So we've assumed that we've made about 12 lakh rupees last year. So that basically means 1 lakh rupee per month. And assuming that this year too, you will have a similar amount of income. If your income is really increasing or doubling, then yes, the percentage just needs to double. Or as in, the same percentages can apply to your income. But I will give you a bonus tip of the cases in case your income has really reduced or it has really increased. And that bonus will come by the end of the video. But because I need to complete the other section before I get into that bonus tip for you. So now let's understand how can you actually do that financial planning. So there is a thumb rule in the industry which says 50, 30 and 20. But I do not believe in that. Put a cross in that formula which says 50, 30, 20. I think that there cannot be a fixed formula for all of us. So in case of freelancers, in case of people who have a very irregular income and people who do not have a fixed income in place, for people like those, I think the formula that really works is 40, 20, 40. So that means whatever money you're making, 40% can be expenses, 20% can be on your luxury, comfort, which we call others, remember? And the balance 40% has to get into your savings. Because this is the savings that you're going to use on those cloudy days, on days where you're actually not able to earn any amount of money or you're not getting any assignments. So this savings really becomes the money that you can dip into in case if you really want to spend on a big education course for yourself, or you really want to go on a solo holiday. So these are the things that you really can splurge yourself in. So that 40% has to get into savings. So yes, I am suggesting 40 to 20 to 40, which is a completely different ratio than what all others suggest. Now, so if that 1 lakh rupee you're making on an average every month or 12 lakh rupee annually, so that basically means that every month you have about 40,000 rupees to spend on your expenses, which is the basic expenses in all the 3-4 brackets. 20% is what you spend on those parties, those weekend parties that you go to, those dinners that you invite people to, or that particular dress that you have been wanting to buy, or that particular suit that you have been wanting to buy, but you think, okay, I'll only do it on the month with that 20,000 rupees of that 1 lakh, or 20% of whatever you're making. Now the balance 40% that you're left with has to get into your savings. There is no negotiation about that. For people who really don't know what could be the 3 basics that I have to do with that savings, I don't want to complicate my life. I just want to do the basics when it comes to savings. Here again is another video for you so that you are not confused. The card is there linked with this video. Once you've done all this, let's come to the savings part. So now talking about the savings that you can do, this 40% or that 40,000 rupees that you are saving. before you get into savings, you also should look at this other video that we did on streamlining finances for freelancers. Because in that particular video, we have told you some great tips how you can actually divide your income for your freelancing income or your business income and your own investments. So now, all the expenses that you have to do, that first 40% of expenses should come into your personal account. So when it comes to your personal account, you know that, okay, this is the money I have for my monthly expenses. I can spend as much as I want as far as I don't hit my minimum balance in this account. So that's your money on that 40% and 20%. So use that money, whatever savings you do, if you really have to buy a particular, let's say you have to buy a phone which is of 50,000 rupees and you don't think you have money of that in this particular month. So in that particular account, start saving so that you set yourself a target. By December, I need to have 50,000 rupees. So every month I will save 10,000, and so by the end of December, I will have 50,000 rupees with me. So this is how you start saving in your account, where you get your personal money for your expenses. Now the main account, which is your business account, that is where you should start planning your investments. Why I'm calling that a business account, remember it is still in your name. So technically, and even for taxation purpose, you can do all investments from that account. But if you have gone ahead, stepped ahead and got into a tax registration, sales tax registration, in all those cases, that account has to be separate. So if I'm talking in this case, there are two accounts in your own name. So the second account where all your money is coming in. So let's say you're earning 1 lakh rupee every month, or let's say you're making 12 lakh rupee. So every month you pull out 40,000 plus 20,000, 60,000 rupees in the other bank account. And this other bank account is where you spend all your money and where you splurge yourself in, or where you buy that particular dress, or where you buy that particular laptop, or that particular phone, or that particular car that you've been wanting to. Every comfort buying has to be done from this other account. Now the main account where all the balance 40,000 rupees per month is lying, that is where you can start doing investments. So for investments, you can obviously look at the financial planning video in detail. But basics, divide your income between 2-3 instruments. If you don't know anything and you don't want to get into details, just divide it between fixed deposits, mutual funds, and insurance, and a little bit of PPF. If you start doing a little bit of all this, just divide it maybe 25% each. Even if you divide all that, I think you will be sorted. But in that 25%, remember, you have to create 10% for your emergency fund, because that is going to be a great deal of importance in case you really hit a day where there's only thunder, and you really hit a black day where you do not have any light for yourself. In that particular day, that emergency fund really comes to use. So start planning investments, mutual fund, fixed deposits, PPF, insurance. Start doing basics of it. Even if you start doing basics of it, I'm telling you, you'll reach your goal at one point of time. So I think this has been a little long video, but it was extremely important for you to figure out if you are a freelancer and if you really don't know how to figure out your income and versus your expenses versus your savings. This is something that is really going to help you and take that first step towards your financial independence. We are going to bring in another video where we are actually going to also tell you how to actually start making more money. We've spoken about how to save more money. We've also spoken about how to invest better. Now, in the next video, we'll actually talk about how to earn better. So I really hope that this video is helping you. I'm still waiting for your like and share of this video. Do share it with that friend of yours who has been doing superbly well in freelancing and would want to understand that investment process. I will wait for your feedback on the comment section. Have a great day. See you. Waiting for the next video to have a great interaction with you guys. Bye-bye.